These conversations that fill every possible platform today seem as if they have burst out of every possible door. Churches, synagogues, mosques, every academic institution, and every mouth. Into the speaking world, the world the code calls wilderness. A world connected to mass consciousness and to the disease of the plague. I chose to bring this video as an example, not as a personal attack, but to show that this is a structural problem, and it is already encoded inside the code. Everything written in the first 5 books cannot be read only as history, geography, or narrative. It is all a code for the time called Yahweh. And through a short part of this video, I will try to show you how the code is read.
Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And this is Data Over Dogma, where we increase public access to the academic study of the Bible and religion, and we combat the spread of misinformation about the same.
There is an entire industry built around the Bible. Translations, theories, debates, podcasts, books, lectures. But most of it is happening outside the Hebrew code. They discuss the stories, they compare sources, they argue about history, they rely on Greek, English, academic, reconstructions, spelling corrections, and later interpretations. They rely on architecture and eyewitness accounts of things no one alive today has truly seen. But the code is not outside the text. The code is inside the Hebrew words themselves. And if you cannot enter the word, you remain outside the code. There is a well-known saying in the New Testament, "Let them alone. They are blind guides of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both will fall into a pit." But this idea did not begin there. The root is already in the Torah. Before the blind, do not place a stumbling block. This is not only about placing a physical obstacle in front of a person who cannot see. It is much deeper than that. The word stumbling block carries the whole structure of failure, obstruction, misdirection, and collapse. And from inside that word, you can already hear the future system that will be called education, knowledge, scholarship, institutions, and even a decline in birth rates because the word is connected to bereavement. The very tools that were supposed to lead us closer to the source became the method that pushed us farther away from the Hebrew code. But nothing happens outside the code. Even this distance is part of the structure. And not only that, it is also a description of this time, exactly here and now, the present, encoded in the number 4 and in the root that creates the words evening, mixture, chaos, Arabs, and the words blind, evil, awake, unstable, and naked are all part of the same code. The time in which the voice of the crowd is heard and decides. The word majority itself belongs to this movement, a movement already encoded inside the word evening, mixture, confusion, blending, the human condition as it exists right now, the scattering, the translations, the arguments, the theories, the Greek, the English, the Bible industry. Everything is connected to humanity, still wandering 40 years in the wilderness. All of it is part of the movement that began with the Tower of Babel and continues into what the world now calls the Bible. So, in this video, I am going to pause from time to time and show short clips from 2 Bible experts, not to attack them personally, but to show what it sounds like when someone is speaking from outside the code. If you watched the words on the screen and did not catch the connection through the letters, watch it again. If you did not catch the links between blindness, evening, chaos, evil, awakening, education, and failure. It does not mean the connection is not there. Everything is there. It only takes little training to learn how to see it. And even if you did not fully understand it through the words and the letters, the code is built in such a way that it reflects itself in reality, here and now. Because the human obsession with looking backward into the past and forward into the future is part of the blindness. It keeps the mind outside the present. And that is the source of ignorance. The code is not hidden because it is far away. It is hidden because people were trained not to see what is right in front of them.
Talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. Or maybe it's the 13 tribes or the 14 tribes. It depends on how you look at it. I'm glad that you're here, Dan, because I started to look at stuff and got confused again.
Yeah.
So we'll dive in with that. So let's just do what's that? So 12 tribes of Israel. What's that? Let's start with
This is exactly where the problem begins. When the text is read only as history, genealogy, geography, or tribal identity, the structure immediately becomes confusing. 12 tribes, 13 tribes, 14 tribes, Levi in, Levi out, Joseph in, Joseph replaced by Ephraim and Manasseh. From outside the code, this looks like a problem, but inside the code, the instability is the point. The names are not random. The number is not random. The substitutions are not random. The text is not trying to preserve a clean historical list. It is showing a structure, the structure of time, a world squared, a world that is born in evening. And there was evening, and there was morning, one day. This is not just a poetic description of a day, it is a description of a structure that holds time inside controlled chaos. This is a description of a structure that holds within it a time of controlled chaos. Morning is not only light, it also carries the sense of control, inspection, supervision. Morning in the sense of control, inspection, supervision. And from there, the code opens into sacrifice, battles, closeness, and cattle. And it is also connected to the words sacrifice, battles, closeness, and cattle. This is a mathematical parable for man. A human being held inside a round world, inside a square cage where everything is controlled, everything is bounded, and free will has clear limits. Inside the square, the narrative has a beginning and an end, but unlike the round earth, which will keep turning on its axis forever, the story inside the square is enclosed. It is measured, it is bordered, it is controlled. So when the tribes move, when Levi is in and then out, when Joseph becomes Ephraim and Manasseh, this is not a mistake in the story. It is the square moving inside time. The structure stays, the names shift, the code remains.
First of all, Israel is Jacob.
Ostensibly.
Ostensibly.
Yes, that's the claim.
Okay.
That the patriarch named Jacob, so we have Abraham, Isaac, and then Jacob, Abraham's grandson, had his name changed to Israel after his little wrestling match with somebody, a dude, perhaps an angel, perhaps God.
Okay.
Somebody.
But it is God, right? Like we've already done this. It's God.
Yeah, it's God. And God says, you know what? I like the cut of your chip. So I'm going to change your name to Israel. The idea being that Jacob struggled, fought, wrestled even with God. And Israel, the idea is supposed to be that it means he who strives with God or something like that. The reality is that's not what the name Israel means. It probably means something more like El contends or God contends.
Okay.
But that is neither here nor is it there because, yes.
El contends. This is a perception of the human mind, meaning God contends, God struggles, God engages in the struggle. God contends sounds more natural in English, but if we want to be precise through the code, we have to understand the word muscle and the word faith. On the channel, you will find videos that cover both in depth. But here is a short explanation. Not Israel as a country. Israel is the code of struggle itself, where El enters the contention, the conflict, the wrestling inside reality. Israel does not only mean he struggles with God. It is El inside the struggle itself. Reality was born from the beginning. In the beginning, God created. God, the force of the one, goes out of itself, splits, and then multiplies. And this creates the reality of chaos, the structure of time 4, and the reality of a dual creation. Inside this reality, there is an element of built-in muscle, and this is called Israel, meaning what was first called Jacob becomes Israel. Jacob is the curse that comes with the voice, with speech, with the corruption of the world that was created through speech. Jacob is the twisting serpent. And again, not a human figure named Jacob, but a force born in the beginning. The force that goes out from the one and becomes all of us, the crowd, the many. Reality keeps twisting from side to side, training, developing muscle until it becomes Israel, a straight line. That is the real meaning. And without understanding the letters that connect the name Jacob and the name Israel, without understanding the true meaning of faith, which is almost like training in a gym, and without understanding the muscle in all its meanings beyond just a part of the human body, you will receive interpretation from the experts. Exactly as it sounds now, a man named Jacob fighting with someone or something, an angel, God himself. All of these interpretations are the products of foreign perceptions, other gods, idolatry, paganism. They all come from the split human mind, which still does not have the ability to grasp the true meaning of one God. Not a being with a white beard sitting on a cloud, but a force, the unified field. The experience is opposite to the duality of creation. Human interpretation is useful for creating stories. Theater, television, cinema, entertainment, the direct product of speech and of the chaotic time of the 40 turns in the wilderness. This distortion, this walking in circles, causes us human beings to want to hold on tightly, not to be pulled into the vortex that reality creates. And this is how all the tribes came into being, all the divisions, all the nations, all the countries, all the identities, from then until forever. This is what the Hebrew code is trying to describe. Not God as a figure, not God as a character, but the unified field of reality, a reality too complete for the split human mind to grasp. So the human mind divides it. It separates the stars from the body, physics from biology, chemistry from language, history from consciousness, matter from spirit. And then it creates experts for every separated piece. But the code is not built that way. The code does not study pieces. The code shows the connection. The code shows the whole. It shows how one movement appears as a word, a body, a nation, a color, a shape, a law, a story, and a moment in time. The human mind breaks reality into fields. The code remembers the field is one. It is not a religion. It is not a partial or broken theory. It is not a field of study. It is a way of describing, through words human beings can understand, a reality the human mind cannot fully grasp. A reality where everything is connected. The stars, physics, biology, chemistry, matter, time, body, language, consciousness, nature, movement. What we call Science is only the human attempt to separate the whole into parts. One person studies the stars, another study of the body, another study matters, another study of language, another studies history, another study of the mind. Divide and conquer, but no expert, no ruler or conqueror can hold the whole. No human mind can truly connect all the parts and see them as one, because the human mind separates to understand, it separates to measure, it separates to control. The code does not. The code holds the movement as one structure. That is why one Hebrew word can open into body, nature, time, nation, color, sound, movement, and reality itself. The word is not only a word, it is a point where a whole structure becomes visible, and all this explains the word shalom.
So the name is changed to Israel, and then Jacob has a bunch of kids, 12 sons. And those 12 sons are the eponymous ancestors of the 12 tribes of Israel. So basically, everything fits into a nice little genealogical line. So
Okay,
everybody
great.
can.
Then we've solved it.
Yeah.
Episode over.
What is it I'm supposed to say at the end of the episode? I don't even remember what I say now. I think I just say bye, everybody. Anyway, it would be terrific if it were that simple.
But it is that simple when you know how to read the code, because sons are not just a bunch of kids. They are not only 12 biological sons. Sons are a code for thoughts that build, for forces that come out of the source and produce generations. And generations are not only about birth. Generations are the unfolding of the text, the chain of meaning that comes out of the first 5 books. So when the text speaks about sons, it is also speaking about what is being built, what is being born, what continues, what branches out, what becomes history, identity, tribe, nation, and story. And this whole process is already encoded inside the name Israel, to root, to uproot, to continue the chain, to stretch the line, to place everything in order, in a row, in a song, until the story that begins as Jacob becomes Israel, until the twisting line becomes a straight line, until the struggle becomes a song.
But we've got a bunch of problems with that. But yeah, part of the point here is that the 12 tribes are kind of a rhetorical organization principle, a way to curate and negotiate who belongs, who is part of our group. And if you can identify the tribe you're a part of, that goes back to one of the 12.
Later in the expert's video, the code of the tribe of Reuben will open on the screen. Try to see it for yourselves through the words. Try to see all the connections from then until today, from the first human to the blood flowing through our human veins, to the color red, to the ruby stone, to the animal that was created with us on the same day. And decide for yourselves whether thousands of years of arguments over this text are enough for you and whether you are ready for something new or not. Just know this. The Hebrew word for familiar also encodes addiction inside it, and the fact that this whole game is rigged. So now I leave you alone with the words, see if you can see it. It is all in the words.
Sons of Israel, that goes back to Israel, that goes back to Isaac, that goes back to Abraham. We're all offspring of Abraham in that sense, or at least anybody who identifies with one of the 12 tribes of Israel. As Latter-day Saints who have a patriarchal blessing are identified, grafted in, so to speak,
right,
to one of the 12 tribes of Israel. And it's an identity marker. It's a way to say you're part of the in group. But it is different from place to place in the Bible. And one of the things is that Is Levi in or is Levi out?
Right.
Not always.
There becomes a problem. So, as I understand it, in Genesis, I think 35, it lists out the sons of Jacob as being, and I'm just going to list them, and I think these are right. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, tribe of Dan. So there's Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar. I don't know, how do you say that?
Usually English speakers say Issachar.
Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin.
Yes. Okay.
So, okay, there you go. Now you said, is Levi part of it? And
Yes.
And that is a big question, and I think that question somehow involves the other question, which is, where are Ephraim and Manasseh?
Yes.
So talk to me about the two that ain't there and the one that is, that might not be.
Well, yeah, when we look at, because there's another part where we have the land divided up among the 12 tribes.
Right.
The land of Israel. And when you look at that division, there's no Levi, but you do have, and there's no Joseph, because you have Ephraim and Manasseh. So those are the two children of Joseph. So you'll notice there's a nice little hydraulic thing here where if you omit Levi, you replace Joseph with Ephraim and Manasseh, so that the number stays at 12.
Yeah.
So which suggests that the number 12 is what's important here. The names,
right.
The names aren't that important. What's important is that we got 12. And we can even go back a little further and talk about a time when it seemed like there were only 10 tribes.
Oh.
And the names, some of the names are different.
Uh-oh.
Because when we go back to the Song of Deborah, this is Judges 5. Judges 4 tells the story of Deborah, the fight with Sisera. And then chapter 5 is the Song of Deborah, which is where Deborah sings about this battle. And we rattle off the tribes of Israel, and Deborah kind of talks about whether or not they helped out. And curses some of the tribes that do not help out. But in fact, I bet, if you'll give me just 1 second, I can pull up Judges 5. We'll start in verse 14. Yeah.
By the way, I am just going to say this. I got our guy Sam, our right-hand man Sam, and I said, hey, can you have T-shirts up on our website with Tribe of Dan merch? Can you have Tribe of Dan merch done by the time this episode airs? Hopefully it has happened. So if you guys are interested, because we're Dans, see, so it's a Tribe of Dans sort of thing. Anyway, if you're interested, go check out dataoverdogmapod.com, and there may be Tribe of Dan merch that you could get right now.
Hopefully there will be. It'll be very embarrassing if there's not. But
we have suffered so much worse embarrassment.
Yes. This is not the greatest indignity that we've ever had.
But hopefully that's all there and ready to go. Anyway.